John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Today we're going to talk about international. We're going to talk about the new GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations in Europe. And it's going to start on May the 25th, 2018. And I haven't heard a word about this from all of my marketing connections that I keep track of. And this is a big deal. The fact is that businesses in Europe have switched to panic mode to make sure they're compliant way ahead of time. Now, we got to say this might be actually something whose time has come, because the last time they did these regulations, they were really based on 1980 rules, which was before the IBM PC was even invented. What were you doing in 1980? And they were updated in 1995, which is the year the internet actually got available to consumers. Back in 1995, I built my first website, and there was considerable debate on whether the internet would ever have commercial implications. Okay, so if you're going to have these, you maybe are due to update them. Okay? Now, here's the trouble. The trouble is that, okay, so here's non-compliant. It says by signing up for the free trial of Office CRM, this is just made up, you might receive email updates, okay? And you can opt out at any time. That's called an implied opt-in. What they want you to do is say, yes, please keep me updated on super office events, news, and offers. And I never check those. And the truth is that I have these pop-ups on every one of my websites, and no one ever pops in. I don't think I've collected one email, because I give you all this stuff for free, and I do great videos, and you say, oh, it'll be on YouTube or LinkedIn or something. We'll hear enough from John. We don't need a bunch of emails coming that way. So I don't even have a system for collecting them. They don't come. So the point is that this is not going to work in terms of building your mailing lists. Now, I use LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is great because as part of the terms of use, you can see my email, I can see your email. And so you've already agreed to be my buddy. But what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to knock out all of you from the EU. I'm going to knock you out now. And there was a retailer in the UK who just said, we're not going to do that anymore. Because here, Flybe was fined £70,000, which is like $100,000. And they just sent a very innocent little, we'd like to hear from you to check and update the personal data we hold for you. Okay? Please click the button below to go to your account where you can amend any out-of-date information, update your marketing preferences. This will only take a moment. Can you imagine that they did this to people? Oh, those poor people. Anyway, so they got fined because they happened to send it to a couple of million who had said that they didn't want anymore. They didn't want to hear from them at all. So they shouldn't even be saving it. That's one principle of the GDPR. You shouldn't even be saving it on these people. They already, of course, if you don't save it, somebody tell the EU. If you don't save the information, then you don't know that they opted out. So you have to save it. And now you have to ask for country, because if you don't know the country, you don't know whether they're in the EU, and you don't know if you can't do anything to them or you can, right? Now, but nobody's ever asked for country. None of that. Those forms, the compliant ones, didn't ask for country. LinkedIn does not send you country or postal code. So I can't tell who's in and who's not in the EU. The only thing I can do is search my contacts, which I have done, and I have 70 of you who are going to get knocked right out of my regular entertaining updates. Tough Shinsky. Now, let's talk economics. This is where I really want to go with this, because, in the United States of America, which you may have heard of, the Supreme Court ruled that the distance from the mailbox to the trash can is sufficiently short as to not constitute an invasion of privacy. So in my trash today, I got a mailer on lawn care, right? Okay. Oops. And I don't do lawn care in my building here, in my office building, because my landlord does it, but I do it at home. And I have a 20-horse tractor and a 5-horse weed whacker and a busher and chainsaws and all kinds of stuff. So I couldn't care less. But I'm not calling him up and saying, "You've invaded my privacy, thinking that I might have a lawn or a house or need lawn care. I am so offended." Come on. It's not a big deal. Get over it, EU. Let people throw it in the trash. Delete an email. Oh my gosh. How could I ever delete an email? You know where this comes from? Karl Marx in Das Kapital. If you haven't read it, you should. Okay? And what it says is that the cost of building something, it's here, my nice tripod. I love this one. Hakuba or something. Anyway, this is a really nice one. The legs come out real far. It's really great and really well made. Marx said that the cost of an item should be the raw materials and the labor. And he didn't really count design as much for labor. He meant the actual labor to build the thing, which is why there's a great Top Gear episode that says, did anyone ever want a car made in a communist country? We were thinking, back in my ad agency days, we were pitching the Yugo account for one of the Yugo dealers in Wisconsin. And I was driving it from our office, because we were looking at it, out to the dealership. And I adjusted the rearview mirror, brand new Yugo, and it broke right off. And something else broke off too while I was taking it to just across town. And there's a great episode of Top Gear, and I'll go try and find it, where they talk about the communist cars. Okay, so design is not a deal. I bought a Chinese scooter and the muffler fell right off. The bolts broke right in half. Okay, so Chinese steel, this is just a few years ago, so Chinese steel may not be all it is cracked up to be anyway. But the bottom line is that Marx did not think that a third of the price of an item should be for marketing. Okay? But without marketing, communist countries hate marketing. Why? Because their people are going to hear that they can get cell phones. I got my latest cell phone for $100, wherever it went, and it's beautiful. Motorola, nice American company. Not a Samsung, not an Apple. I love it, okay? But I heard about it because of marketing. Marketing is capitalism. Marketing is capitalism. So when the Supreme Court looked at junk mail, they knew that we need to keep a free market, a conduit between people with new ideas, people with great ideas, people with new inventions. We need to keep that connected to the people. And I think it's hilarious or tragic that the EU is using the data that we use to keep from annoying people. We use that data to decide you're not worth spending a buck to talk to you. It costs us money to talk to you. It's not your money. It's our money. We want you to know. We think there's a chance you may really like our product. What do new companies do who don't have existing customers? That you have to prove now to the ICO that you have some message that people will think is wonderful. And just a couple of people say, "Oh no, I don't like that message." Oh my. Can you imagine? So I wanted to warn you, both because if you're in the EU and you want to keep hearing from me, tough. You better get in touch because it's happening. Gone. Okay? Second, okay, we need to think hard in the United States of America. Do we want this kind of crazy applied to our free speech, applied to companies who have great ideas, who are always innovating and making the world a better place? Do we want some government official saying, that isn't a message that I think people want to hear? And this happened in the sweepstakes industry. The states passed laws, the state attorney generals, and they shut down companies. Michigan Bulb and a whole host of others. And I tried to bring a German company to the United States. And we spent about 18 months working with lawyers. It wasn't a sweepstakes. It was just a service that allowed little old ladies. I told all of my mother-in-law and my mom. They were like, "Oh, I'd like that," because you can't even sign up for a sweepstakes anymore unless you're online. And they didn't want to do it online. They didn't know how to do that online. So this place registers their name, and it keeps them from getting emails back because it codes it up and everything. It was really nice. It was like $20, $15-20 a month. Everybody I told about it said, "When can I get it? I really want that." And we could not figure out how to get past so many vague regulations about how it could be deceptive or could be misunderstood. Okay, so this is a great, great, grave danger. And they've let it happen in the EU, and they let it happen in communist countries. And you need to be on the alert. And you need to fight this. And I would say, cut off the EU from your marketing, because it could cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. That's what I'm doing. I'm John Miglash for the International Society for Strategic Marketing and the Wisconsin DMA.